Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you a strategy that uses the Crones, or the Witches of Crookback Bog as you may know them, as part of the deck. Now, they're not the centre point of this strategy, which means they could potentially be swapped out for something else, but I'll explain why you shouldn't do that later on. Also, we're going to be using Dagon, which is one of the leaders from the Monsters faction, since we want to be spawning some of the weathers. Now, you could swap Dagon out for the card Ragnar Rug, but since we want to play only one weather and avoid playing any rain, I'm going to choose Dagon just so that we could choose when to play any weather. Another thing I should point out about this deck is that it can actually defeat the currently very popular Faultist Northern Realms strategy. You know which one I'm talking about. So, less introduction, more me showing the deck and explaining how to use it. So, going on to the cards, the first thing is we'll be using Ancient and Normal Foglets. Also, we have a Woodland Spirit card which allows us to create fog and spawn 3 rabid wolves. And lastly for the range row, we also have 2 wyverns which allow us to do 4 damage to an enemy card. Now, if you're going to use the wyverns and you also have the Woodland Spirit, I definitely recommend you using the wyverns, you know, on a different round or just beforehand. And whenever we play the Woodland Spirit, the normal Foglets will get automatically played as long as you don't have them in your hand, and we want to play the Ancient Foglets before we do use it. So moving on to the melee row, we have 3 Wild Hunt Riders, which will kind of be using as filler cards and, you know, on round 1 and potentially maybe on round 3. Also, we have Corinthia, which can spawn us Frost and 2 Wild Hunt Hounds. And then lastly on the melee row, we also have an Ice Giant, Nithful, and Geralt. Now, with Nithful, before you use Corinthia or any of your Wild Hunt Riders, you want to play him first. Reason being is Nithful's ability actually attacks one random unit on the enemy side of the board whenever you play a Wild Hunt unit. So that being any units that Corinthia spawns, and of course your Wild Hunt Riders. However, if you really wanted to, you could actually swap Nithful out for a Commander's Horn, as that'll work quite well with the Crones, but at the end of the day, it's up to you, and what I picked is, you know, Nithful. So moving on to the siege row now, we have Sarah and of course the Crones. Now in my opinion, the Crones should be used whenever you need a big burst of strength, since they give you 21 strength whenever you play them. And for Sarah, always, and I mean that with a lot of emphasis, always play her before you're about to use any weather whatsoever. And finally, we don't have many special cards since we're all about using the right cards. So we have 3 Adrenaline Rushes, 2 Thunder Strikes for some offense, 3 Thunderbolt Potions, and Avalak. And in case you didn't know, Avalak is amazing since we gain 2 cards, but the enemy also gains 1. So that's enough of the deck. If you want to, you can pause the video, check it out, build it up yourself, or just, you know, go over that section again. But I'll be moving on now to how to actually use this. So I'm not going to do what I normally do in these strategy videos, which is tell you what to do on round 1, what to do on round 2, and what to do on round 3. This one's going to be a little different. So this strategy has a couple different variations when it comes to what you can play and when. And it all depends on what you currently have in your hand. First off though, definitely always play Avalak on the first turn of the first round or whenever you get him. So talking about the main deck, there's 3 main combos which you can pull off with this. The first one is to have Nithful, Corinthia and any Wild Hunt Riders and the Ice Giant in your hand. And using those will give you Frost and will give you 42 strength. And I also should mention that using the Thunderbolt Potion on the Riders is definitely recommended since, you know, it gives you that big burst of strength. Now the second combo is to have your Ancient Foglets and the Woodland Spirit. So using those together will spawn you Fog, bring out your normal Foglets, and if you have all of your normal Ancient Foglets, in total that will give you 34 strength. And now the final combo, which is quite easy one, is just to have 1 Crone in your hand, and if you do have it, a Commander's Horn. And using those together will give you a burst of 42 strength, since playing all 3 Crones is 21 strength, using the Commander's Horn on them will buff it up to 42. Now, which combo and when, it definitely depends on who you're up against and what they're kind of doing. For example, if you're playing against the Faultist strategy, who's buffing up, you know, poor infantries, then playing Corinthia here will stop him from doing that strat since we, you know, spawn Frost. However, the timing of it when you play it is definitely the most important. So the right time definitely to play Corinthia is after he's fully done buffing up 1 unit, or in this case the poor infantries, and has just played an Adrenaline Rush, since you know next turn he's going to duplicate that. And if you want to look out for more, just watch the gameplay in the background. You could potentially watch this video again, just have me muted if you really want to, and just watch what I do and, you know, how to do it, because I feel like this deck I can't really put into words myself, whereas if you actually watch and play, I think it's a bit more learning and just better than me mumbling, in other words. So anyway, let's move on to how to actually defeat this deck. So if you haven't noticed, this deck has actually got a couple weaknesses, the most obvious being the use of a clear skies whenever any weather gets played. Now this strategy is quite good because we want to be playing frost and fog, which is, you know, melee and ranged. And if you play both of those and then a clear skies happens, you can then use your leader's ability to actually play fog again, which will, you know, bring out your foglets back. But the nice thing is, if a clear skies does get played, Sarah actually gains 4 strength anyway, so you don't actually lose too much, but then again you do. Like, it's not the end of the world, is what I'm trying to say. But another weakness I find is actually a lacerate as you play any Wild Hunt Riders straight away. But apart from that, this deck's actually just quite vulnerable to other stuff like Scorches, lacerates really, just your general, you know, offense. I can't really think of anything else off the top of my head right now. But if you guys do find any weaknesses in this strategy, leave a comment down below and I'll obviously be sure to update this guide when appropriate. But I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to, you know, like I said, how you play it, and once you realise what the combos do, when you play them, it's all good. And if you guys do make any changes to this deck and you think it's really good, leave a comment down below, and like I said earlier, I'll update it when appropriate. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye for now.